Christ said, if the right eye offends thee, take it out, and thy single eye be full of light, and thy whole body be full of light. So, in reference to that, he also said, the light of God dwelleth within all of God's creation. He said that to the Pharisees when they came up to him on a lovely day that he was talking to the rest of the disciples, and he let them know. And he was talking to the crowds and the people, and God knows. He sees all. And his hope and heart doesn't let us fail or fall. When people want to say, oh, that means you are God. No, that means the light of God dwells within all of his creation. He is the true light. The only one who sent Christ as his son, the messenger for the wedding feast. And as it began with a wedding, it shall end with a wedding feast. And if you didn't read your Bibles, there is testing. As it says in the end of time, those prepared for the end, and then those who were not prepared, right? Well, I think the elite took it in the wrong way. They took it to mean something not good. They ended up burying themselves in between the rocks and in the hollow places of the earth, thinking that they found a whole new world. But God says they'll cry out for him and they won't be able to die. And people wonder, oh, these people live forever or they get recycled? Well, let God be their judge and not us, right? It's not our place. We didn't make the angels. But if God says we're to judge them, that's up to God and not anyone else. He said we're to judge the angels, and he doesn't mean the good ones that are there with him, that don't need judging, that love him more than we could ever imagine, and more than we will be able to imagine someday, because it says we will be given like the angels on earth as it is in heaven. We will be like them. We won't be given in marriage to humans and to each other. We'll finally get to have the love of our life, the one that created us, that imagined us first, and true love, real love above all loves, unlike this world can love, unlike anyone can love here. And there's beautiful tales of heaven and earth love and all kinds of different stories and people's lives that they actually lived. But there's no greater love than the one that came for all of humanity, the messenger that came to send all to the wedding feast for us. And what Jesus never said, worship me. He said, worship God. And the woman came up to him, and Christ said, there's no good in me but God. And that's so true for all of us. Like, if we didn't have his loving heart, where would we be to guide us, to help us, to make us into better people? What's the point of being here if we can't do some good? We're no good at all. That's what the plaque on my uncle's wall used to say. I believe that. If you're not here to help others and do good, what the hell are you here for, man? I mean, that's the whole point of coming to earth, is to do good and help each other and to spread the love of God. And none of us are perfect. I know this, but at least if you try, that's gonna be meaning a lot to the Creator, the one who created all of us. Time is so short down here. We don't live like thousands of years like we used to. And the time where Christ said it'll be worse in our days than in the days of Noah. I mean, you guys got to wake up to what that really means. Not just CERN opening portholes, but what that opening the bottomless pit, God said he would give them a key to the bottomless pit for a little while, and that they would open it, right? And sometimes that key to the bottomless pit means the old world getting destroyed and the new one coming about. And God said, I'd never destroy you again with water. But he did say fire, a holy fire. And what does it say? Christ burns them up with the light of his coming, destroys all evil, right? And the Leviathan is taken out in a special way to where, you know, we actually get to consume it for the feast. And that becomes the feast of all, you know, to not have to see evil protrude in any realm anymore. And the gates of the Leviathan gate will be shut down completely. And there will be a testing of the Titans and things loosened once more that are frozen in ice there in Antarctica. But that's where, you know, it said, if your heart fails you, don't worry, God won't fail you. You know, because it'll be things you're not used to seeing. But stay conscious, stay proud and loving and true in the one that made you. The one that is beyond heaven and earth, and that made all the heavens and all the earths. And he's the source of all love and truth. I've never seen anybody be able to be who Christ is and the way he is. So many people, you know, I think it's awesome that we all desire that Christ consciousness. We desire the mirror, that we want God to see us through Christ's eyes, you know. We desire that. We definitely desire for God to see us in a good way, because it's his heart that we want within us. You know, as Christ said, he came here, he died for not religion, a relationship between you and God. Did you see him and the churches really get along too well? Every time he went in there, he got into an argument, man. He got pissed off, and I'm not going to say excuse my French, because that's exactly what he got, and I understand that. I sacrificing animals, and the way they manipulated the poor people and to get them to pay money for ritual sacrifices that were not anything to do with God at all. And Jesus said, I'm the first and the last sacrifice. It's sad. Because you know what? In Adam's, the first, he's literally, they call him the second Adam that came to redeem man of all their illnesses and sins and problems, because they have God consciousness. Everybody's born with a God consciousness in their heart. It's up to them what they do with it. Whether they want to say they know Christ or not, they know what's right and wrong. God consciousness is there, and they can see it and feel it, and they know what they're doing right or wrong. That's why sometimes, if you don't have somebody, you know what I mean? You better be your own psychologist to know that you're doing right or wrong, and to pray for guidance through Jesus Christ, the mirror, to make us better. And it's not praying to Christ. That's not what I'm saying. I always say Abba, like Christ says Abba God, because he's the only one that's our true Father, is our creator in heaven, on earth as it is in heaven. And God said, I'm your only one true Father. You know, it ain't like It ain't like a Star Wars episode. Like, I'm your father. Yeah, this is a guy who ran off and left me and became evil and it's no good, Darth Vader. It's not like that. But it's a real father. One that loved you so much that he imagined you into existence and wanted you before you existed, not some unplanned affair, or somebody that wasn't wanted before they were here. Us souls, looking down, we know if we're coming into a situation where somebody can kill us or not want us. As the Jimi Hendrix song goes, looking through my belly button window, I wish all these women out here would hear that song before they ever go into the abortion clinic. Looking out my belly button window and wondering if somebody loves me out there enough to, let me come down and have a life experience on earth and love me enough to take care of me and show me real love. All parents should be able to do that, whether they're male or female. It doesn't really matter what sex they are. They should be able to take care of their kids in a positive, good way and love them. And like our Heavenly Father wants to give us good things, what more, you know what I mean? Should we want to do for our kids if He wants to do that for us? There's not a lot of love in the way there should be down here. And I hope that this world gets better like that. That it stops being what it's been and becomes something that it's supposed to be. Something that's worth heaven on earth for eternity, and not just something to say, but to make a way for God and His path in your heart. And it's not some egotistical thing to say on earth as it is in heaven, and God, make us increasingly like yourself, because God is love. So why wouldn't we want to be like love? That's the best feeling ever, is like real love. You could be in a room with 1 million people or just one, and you feel God's love, and that's priceless. There's just nothing like it. Nothing. There's nothing like it. You could be alone, or you could be with 1 million people, like you said. Either way, and if you're concentrating on Him, He's above all the riches and the relationships and anybody you could ever wish for or want in your life. He doesn't just relieve you from strife. He adds this element of true happiness that nobody can. And I think Christ is a great mirror, and to have His consciousness is to try to have our Abba's consciousness, and to have love that we wouldn't have normally had He not came here to teach us about how to get to Christ. How to get to God. Excuse me. He told Peter, at the Last Supper, I'm not telling you I'm gonna, have special places in heaven for you guys. That's not how this works. There's no hierarchy like that for you guys like that. What if you were told, one of the disciples, each one of you have to guard a gate? There's 12 gates. Right? So maybe they wouldn't have been fighting for that place. It's better to serve than to be served. But any place that serves God is a great place. And the best. And I don't mean some moron manipulating you, telling you, control freak. I'm talking about God that dwells within your heart, that really frees you through Christ and leads you in the right way through your heart, and not through some organized religion in that way. Because, like I said, Christ was never about religion. He was about getting you to have a personal relationship between you and God, personally, directly, and not to be, saying I am God, like it's all about me. No, it's about God that dwells within all of his creation, like Christ was trying to tell the people, and love them as they needed to be loved, and to build confidence. If God's right there with you, loving you, wouldn't you have more confidence? Yes, you would. He looks out of your eyes. He sees everything you feel. He knows. That's why it's important to decalcify your pineal glands. As it says in the Bible, Jacob wrestled with pineal, and overcame. So we have to overcome, because Christ overcame the world for us before we were born. So we have to have that confidence that he already did that for us. And the mirror effect of the messenger leads us back home to God. And not separate, not saying, yeah. And you guys hopefully understand that by now. To be one with the Spirit of God. Not saying, oh, it's all about me. Oh, it's not cool to be like saying I am God that way. That's called the egotistical delusion of what God's supposed to be. All right, so we all should hopefully know that by now, that God is the one that loves us and wants us to be one with him, and the mirror through Christ that we would want to be is the one that he sent. So we'd have a understanding of who he actually is, that is love and understanding and giving, and that he's not a miracle machine like gimme, gimme, gimme. It's about that love that you feel from within that leads you away from the things that you know are sin, that you don't need to be near. I don't know what it is. It could be anything for anybody. But all of us have those, like my brother would say when I was younger. He's like, well, everybody has something like that they like, that, if it's too bad or good for them, they know. But it's up to that person, He sure did like Twinkies. And it was like one of his favorite things, right? and his gun rack, because he's still a weekend warrior. He had to hide them from his wife. It was pretty funny. And I didn't say anything. I just laughed because I saw his Twinkies in his gun casings. Started, put his gun rack. But as he said, everybody has what they like in this world, and some other people may consider it a problem or something they don't like the other person to have. So, to each their own, and it could be something different for everybody. You know what I mean? Like I said, but it's best to realize that God's the one that actually needs to come forth, and when people take too much of anything or do too much of anything, are they really concentrating on God, right? So, the one that led us here, and if we can concentrate on him, we can do the most good and not the least good. You know what I mean? That's the only way I know to put it. Doing the most good and trying to help people to know by example the best you can. None of us are going to be perfect, because there's going to be people that have their, you have your good days, your bad days, when you can teach people, when you can't, what you can do for them. And then you have those days where you just feel the Spirit of God on you, and you can get out there, and you're meant to get out there and be around somebody to let them know the truth about the love of God, and to tell it freely. It could be whether it's on a channel or whether it's to the people you love around you. It says in the Bible to speak to the wilderness even. So if you find yourself out there talking to nature, good for you. John the Baptist did too. And he helped a lot of people, call people back home to God, to them directly, and have a relationship with the Creator. eating locust and honey out there for so long, but he was a good soul because, not just because he was Jesus' cousin, a lot of people didn't know that, but because his heart's desired people to come to God. And it says in the Bible, if you don't still praise me, the rocks will praise me, right? And John the Baptist wore those 12 stones around him on it as a chest plate. And when it got taken away from him, he asked Christ, hey, well, he didn't ask Christ personally. He sent a messenger out because he couldn't get to Christ because he was locked up in jail because some crazy chick wanted his head that was the king's wife. It's disgusting. Yeah, all over it, her daughter dancing, she gave him the head of John the Baptist. So it was really disturbing. But while he was sitting there in jail and he was waiting, he said, well, is this all in vain? Is this all for nothing? Give me a sign, God. And he sent a messenger to ask Jesus. And Jesus didn't show up at the jail, but he sent the messenger back. Look that up in the Bible, what Christ said. That'll be a good thing for you to look up, what Christ said to John the Baptist while he was waiting. But much love to you guys. I'll make another segment another time. God bless.